Hi, I'm Sam.
And I'm Hope. We're missionaries in Ukraine, and we have a really interesting story on how we got here.
First off, we have been incredibly blessed with parents who love the Lord and have a heart for missions. They homeschooled us our whole lives, so that gave us the flexibility to go on many mission trips.
Growing up, we had the chance to go to Africa, France, Greece, Italy, China, and Ukraine.
But our favorite, of course, is Ukraine.
Most people probably don't know a whole lot about Ukraine except for what they see in the news.
We were actually there during the massive protest and resignation of the president. We had to be evacuated from the country after the government offices and our city were taken over and things seemed unsafe to stay.
There were so many roadblocks, and our driver kept telling us not to talk so they wouldn't know we were Americans. But once we got to the airport, it was great because it was completely empty.
From the time we were young girls, we both had a desire to be missionaries in Ukraine. We didn't know how to pursue this dream exactly, so we just kept going to Ukraine at least once or twice a year. As we were finishing high school, everyone asked us what we were going to do. We knew we wanted to be in Ukraine as missionaries, so we decided to apply to Moody Bible Institute, and we were both accepted. We were really excited and thought that this was just one step closer to our goal.
We were serving in Ukraine with a short-term dental team during the summer before Moody. The day before we left, my dad called us and said a friend of his from Operation Mobilization had contacted him about the need for native English speakers to serve for 1 year in Ukraine.
It was the day before we were heading back to the States, so we quickly organized a meeting, and to make a long story short, we were invited to serve in Ukraine as missionaries. There was only one problem. We had to raise $30,000 in about 1 month. After a lot of hard work and a lot of prayer, God raised up the support team, and we were heading to Amsterdam first for training and then to Ukraine for full-time mission work.
So what do we do in Ukraine? We actually do a lot of things. Our primary jobs with OM continues to be helping with administrative work as native English speakers in order to effectively communicate with other OM ministries around the world.
Even though we are twins, we have different gifts and different passions. During the summer, we pretty much spend all day every day doing a variety of camps to reach villages who have never heard the gospel. Some of these villages have churches that only have 5 to 6 old ladies who face persecution and severe poverty. We've never really been the outdoorsy type, but we have slowly had to learn the true meaning of roughing it in the gray outdoors. We do week-long camps and rafting trips living in the forest with the young people. It's a great way to introduce them to Christ and to help grow the local churches.
Our team trains them in Sunday school programs, evangelism, church leadership, and reaching out to their community with the love of Christ. When we're not doing camps or administrative work, we get to pioneer some of our own ministries and build on work that we've done in the past.
Since we share a common interest in reaching orphans, we work together a lot on this. The majority of our orphan work is done in a private Christian orphanage that we've been going to since our early trips as kids. The older girls there are some of our best friends since we've grown up together, and we spend a lot of time working with them as they transition from the orphan life to the real world. We get to pamper them with all the things a teenage girl would love. We have also made a huge effort to keep contact with the girls who have left the orphanage, and our hearts have been broken to see some of the situations they are in. Since many girls in Ukraine end up being sold into the sex slave industry, this is a huge need and one that requires a lot of trust and relationship building in order to keep them from a life of destruction.
Some of our most heart-wrenching work is when we go to the home for the mentally unstable. These are older adults that have been basically thrown away by most of their families, so it's really sad to go there. But the great thing is that they are so receptive to our love and the time we spend with them. A huge ministry that I've been working on lately is an English language group. Since knowledge of the English language is so valuable, This ministry continues to grow every week. We sing English worship songs, and I'm able to use the Bible as my curriculum and share the gospel with unbelievers weekly through our conversations.
A ministry I will be starting when I get back is to help with the abortion problem in Ukraine. Ukraine is among the top 3 in the world for the most abortions. My long-term desire is to start a women's pregnancy center in Vinnytsia, where I will offer free pregnancy testing and use this to share Christ and save the lives of these precious babies.
So how can you get involved? Well, there's lots of ways. First of all, you can pray. We need people who will just commit to praying for us in this difficult part of the world. You can also sign up in the back for our monthly newsletter that has updates as well as specific prayer requests.
Not only can you pray, but you can give. Like most missionaries, we rely on the faithful support of financial partners in order to stay in the field.
Of course, you can also come here to Ukraine. We host teams from all over the world and have hosted actually a few from Ocala.
Since the ministry is so broad, we can adjust our ministry to whatever you or your team desires to do. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch and see the ministry that God is doing in Ukraine.